Before everything collapsed, she was just Evelyn, a quiet, soft-spoken woman living a simple life in a small apartment on the outskirts of Houston. Her days were filled with the scent of fresh bread from the bakery where she worked part-time, and her nights were filled with dreams of a family, a home, and a love that could fix anything. She was an optimist, a believer in fairy tales, and when she met Daniel Crow, she thought her fairy tale had finally begun. Daniel was everything she had ever dreamed of and more, a handsome real estate investor, with a smile that could disarm armies and a wallet overflowing with promises. He wasn't just wealthy, he was magnetic, pulling her into a world she'd only seen in movies. Luxury dinners, spontaneous weekend trips to Miami, whispered plans for a future filled with sprawling mansions, laughing children, and an undying love. It was intoxicating. Within a year, they were married. Evelyn, standing in her white dress, believed she had found her forever. But she had no idea who Daniel truly was, no idea of the darkness hiding behind that flawless smile. The first crack in her perfect world appeared when she discovered she was pregnant. She was terrified, of course, but also overwhelmingly excited. She couldn't wait to see the joy on Daniel's face, to start their family. But when she told him, there was no joy. He wasn't thrilled. In fact, he was cold. It was like a switch had been flipped. Overnight, the man she loved disappeared. The charm evaporated, replaced by a chilling indifference. His gentle voice turned sharp and cruel. He stopped coming home, and when he did, he smelled of expensive perfume that wasn't hers and cheap, transparent lies. The fairy tale was over. One night, during a bitter argument, the facade shattered completely. Daniel finally spat out the ugly truth. He didn't want a family. He didn't want a child. He didn't even want her anymore. What he wanted, what he desperately needed, was money. Daniel, the successful real estate investor, was drowning in secret debt. Millions of dollars owed to very dangerous, very unforgiving people. And he had concocted a sickening solution to his problem. He began forcing Evelyn to entertain his wealthy clients, the very men he owed money to under the guise of private business meetings. At first, she fought back. She cried, she begged, she pleaded with the man she once loved. But Daniel was no longer a man who listened to pleas. He was a man who demanded obedience. He locked her in their luxurious home, which had now become her prison. He took her phone, controlled her every move, isolated her from the world. He treated her, and the child growing inside her, like a commodity. Her pregnancy, a precious secret she had cherished, became a business asset, something he could leverage. Something he could sell to twisted, powerful men who were drawn to the idea of a vulnerable, pregnant woman. Evelyn's world shrank to the size of her gilded cage, and her life became a living nightmare. Then came the night that would change everything. Daniel had a special meeting arranged, a high-stakes client he needed to appease. His name was Victor Hale, a self-made millionaire, a man shrouded in mystery, known for his volatile temper and his ruthless business tactics. Daniel sent Evelyn to him, another pawn in his desperate game. But Victor was different. He didn't want Daniel's money, and he didn't seem interested in the vile transaction Daniel was proposing. He wanted something else entirely. He wanted Daniel's wife. Victor was fascinated by Evelyn. He saw past the fear in her eyes and recognized a quiet, unyielding strength. He saw the way she fought back tears, the way she held herself with a dignity her circumstances tried to strip away. He started asking her questions Daniel had never bothered to ask. Do you miss home? Do you feel safe? Are you being forced to be here? For the first time in what felt like a lifetime, someone looked at her and saw a human being, not a bargaining chip. A flicker of hope ignited in the darkness. Daniel, however, didn't like it one bit. He saw Victor's interest not as a threat, but as an opportunity. More money, more private time with Evelyn. Blinded by greed, Daniel agreed to every offer Victor made, pushing his wife further into the lion's den. What Daniel, in his arrogance, failed to see was that the lion was not on his side. Victor had already begun his own investigation into Daniel Crow. Victor Hale had resources Daniel couldn't even fathom. Holly had connections that ran deeper than any criminal network, private investigators, ex-military operatives, and enough influence to make men like Daniel disappear without a trace. And as he learned more about the hell Evelyn was enduring, his fascination with her deepened into something more. Something protective. Something that felt dangerously close to love. Victor wasn't just planning to pay Daniel off. He was planning to tear Daniel's entire world apart. The final act was set in motion when Daniel discovered Victor's true plan. 2. He found out Victor was going to take Evelyn away to hide her, protect her, and expose Daniel's horrific crimes to the world. The realization that he was about to lose everything, his leverage, his wife, his freedom, made Daniel snap. The last vestiges of his humanity crumbled into pure, unadulterated rage. That night, consumed by fury, Daniel followed Victor's car. Evelyn was in the passenger seat, her heart pounding against her ribs. They were driving up a winding, treacherous cliffside road when Daniel's truck appeared in the rearview mirror, a monster closing in. He rammed the back of Victor's SUV, once, twice, the sound of screeching metal echoing through the night. Victor fought to control the vehicle, but Daniel was relentless. One final brutal impact sent their SUV spinning wildly toward the cliff's edge. Evelyn screamed as the world turned upside down. The car tumbled, a chaotic symphony of twisting metal and shattering glass. It rolled down the steep, rocky slope, finally slamming to a halt against the jagged rocks below. The silence that followed was deafening. Daniel scrambled down the hill, a triumphant, wicked grin on his face, convinced he had killed them both. Problem solved, but he was wrong. Victor was alive, barely, but alive, and he wasn't alone. From the mangled wreckage, a figure emerged. It was Evelyn, covered in blood, bruised, but conscious. She pulled herself from the car and looked up at the man she once called her husband. 2. The fear that had defined her for so long was gone. In its place was a cold, burning fury. Seeing her strength, gave Victor a final surge of adrenaline. He pulled himself up just enough to grab a heavy rock from the ground. With all his remaining strength, he hurled it at Daniel, hitting him squarely and knocking him off balance. Daniel stumbled backward, his arms flailing. He teetered for a moment on the edge of the very cliff he had tried to drive them from. Then, he fell. A single, silent scream lost to the wind as he plummeted to his death on the rocks below. The wail of sirens cut through the night, just minutes later. It didn't take long for the police and investigators to unravel Daniel's web of lies. The debts, the trafficking, the abuse, it all came to light. The monster was exposed. Victor survived his injuries. And 3 months later, safe and free, Evelyn gave birth to a healthy baby boy. In the quiet aftermath of the storm, their shared trauma slowly blossomed into understanding, tone, and that understanding, in time, turned into a deep and profound love. They rebuilt their lives piece by piece, promising each other that no shadow would ever swallow them again. Victor made a vow, not just to Evelyn, but to himself. She would never be used, controlled, or hurt again. Not by him. Not by anyone. Some love triangles end in heartbreak. Some end in tragedy. But this one ... This one ended in justice. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content just like this. Remember to turn on notifications so you never miss an update. We'll see you in the next one.